There are two categories of poker players. There are players with World Series of Poker bracelets, and there are players without.
Tonight from Las Vegas, poker's most elite fraternity starts accepting new members. The circuit has ended. It's time for the World Series of Poker. Here, it's not just about the money you win, but the bracelets you wear.
When you win a bracelet, you're walking on cloud 9.
Yes!
I've been waiting for this.
Bracelets is how you keep score.
This is all I've ever wanted.
Immediately, you become a part of the history of poker.
This is every poker player's dream.
Tonight, 9 players take a shot at a bracelet in all its glory, including 2 looking for their 3rd piece of jewelry.
I'd love to get my 3rd bracelet, and my 4th, and my 5th, and my 6th.
Both hoping to recapture poker's most cherished prize.
This is the holy grail. This is what people want.
The race for the bracelets is underway. Yes! The World Series of Poker starts now. Yes! Welcome to the World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. And with the end of the circuit events, the Rio is now the center of the poker universe. 2,305 players, the 2nd largest field ever, came to the brand new home of the World Series for this year's opening event.
I stood in line for 3.5 hours, man.
I feel lucky to have a seat.
From all over the world, internet players, veterans of the game, poker novices, and the defending world champion paid $1,500 hoping for the first bracelet of 2005.
Say goodbye. It's gone.
Dealers, shuffle up and deal.
40,000 square feet of poker real estate, a maze that ensnared some of the game's greats.
Beat the rest of the field for me.
Jennifer Harmon, Chris Jesus Ferguson, and last year's Toyota Player of the Year Daniel Negreanu all went out early.
All right, see you tomorrow, kids. See you later.
2 days and 2,296 disappointments later, the field has been reduced to our final table of 9, but only one will get to wear the coveted championship bracelet.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lon McCarron. He's Norman Chad. Young guns rising up and winning World Series bracelets was the theme last year, but it's taken only one event at this 2005 World Series of Poker to buck that trend. Our final table tonight is loaded with highly experienced world-class players.
A year ago, Lon, Scott Fischman was one of those young guns, and for those who thought his 2 World Series bracelets were a fluke, well, guess what? Fishman's back at the final table, and he just happened to beat the 2nd largest field in poker history to get here.
There is Scott Fischman, the defending champion of this event. He's made 2 World Series final tables and won them both. And Alan Cunningham, an accomplished cash game player, trying to overcome a rather poor showing in 2004 here.
2 other poker heavyweights are here. Dave Ulliot, known as Devil Fish, won his bracelet in 1997. There's An Tran. He won a bracelet in 1991. He's made 22 World Series final tables.
And this is the first final table of this World Series. Cunningham and Fischman neck and neck in the chip count. Tran and Ulliot with healthy stacks. Only Heath Boutwell in immediate danger right now with 32,000.
Devilfish says this might be the toughest final table you see at this year's World Series. 6 top pros, including 4 bracelet winners.
And he's not one of them. Randy Edmondson's a high school football coach in Mississippi on Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam. 2 jacks.
All right.
It's going to be aggressive right from the start. And 75,000 chips. Canwa and Liz Lieu fold. They are the other 2 poker pros at this table. There is An Tran. He kicks it in as well. The short stack of the table is Heath Boutwell. With Edmondson's raise, he'd have to go all in to play. He's got ace-queen.
All right.
All right, resignedly. He could have picked worse cards to go all in with.
I'm behind. I know.
He is indeed behind to Edmondson as they'll go heads up to the flop.
There's Glenn Hughes on the left, who finished 5th in last year's main event. He's been friends with Randy since college.
Randy's got a great cheering section, been cheering every move he makes here at this table. And Heath is best friends with Josh Aryeh, who finished 3rd in last year's main event. They met in high school playing pool. So Edmondson and Boutwell to the flop. It comes out 7-3 king rainbow. No help for Boutwell.
Yeah, Boutwell in for all his chips right here. And he's going to need an ace or a queen in a hurry to stay alive.
And now the turn card. 3 of diamonds, no help to Boutwell. The percentage next to a player's name, the probability they'll have the best cards at the end of the hand.
No ace, no queen, dealer.
Heath would need an ace or a queen, or his day is over.
River cards, a 9 of hearts. Not going to do it for Heath Boutwell.
Good luck.
As he is eliminated from this final table in ninth place, $54,000.
Let's get crowd control over here.
Well, a great start for Randy here at the final table. And you know, the World Series is just that, a series, a 6-week marathon that includes 42 events, wide variety of games, all capped off by the $10,000 buy-in main event, the World Championship of Poker. Action back underway here. The blinds are an 8 and 16,000. Edmondson and Canwa fold over to An Tran.
An Tran sold his World Series bracelet for $2,000 the day after he won it, and he believes he's been cursed ever since.
Got that scowl trying to overcome that, too. With ace-queen, he's going to bet out $35,000. Scott Fischman, pocket eights. Fischman will call. On to Devil Fish, one of the more popular players in Great Britain with a couple of kings.
That says Devil Fish on his rings. He owns a jewelry store, so he probably gets a discount on his own bling.
I'm all in.
And Ulliot is going to go all in, waste no time turning up the heat on this table, and An Tran.
Get ready, boys. Crowd out. How much is it? I got 233.
You got 280. You got 280 right there.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I said. 323. Something like that. 313,000. I got quite a lot.
I hope they check his books at his place of business. An Tran's hand has shrunk since he bet. The ace-queen doesn't look as good, and he gets out of the way.
Now over to Scott Fischman.
Scott Fischman has the best hand, but will he call with it?
Scott Fischman does not have the best hand, but will he call with it?
But another player auditioning for your job.
He'd have to sit next to you. Be careful what you wish for. Scott's got a good hand, but he's got to decide whether he wants to risk about half his chips to call it.
Guaranteed best hand right here. Guaranteed, 100%.
Bad guarantee.
My favorite hand also. It's so pretty. Look at that. It's my favorite hand.
Can I look at it?
Yep, Fischman throws him away.
Good lay down.
And Devil Fish Ulliot. Oh, look at this.
Oh.
If I knew you were going to do that, I would have busted you.
I wish he would have.
Devil Fish.
An homage to Randy Edmondson, who gives him a high five.
So I had the best hand, right?
If you can't beat him, join him, baby.
The 2005 World Series of Poker is presented by Milwaukee's Best Light, brewed for a man's taste. Miller Brewing Company, and in part by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's forward. Toyota, moving forward. And Harris Entertainment, home of the world's richest poker tournament. The World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light.
The final table here at the World Series is nestled in the corner of the Rio Poker Room.
Good job. King 6. You saw what I had.
And Scott Fischman still obsessing about the last hand.
I had you beat. I'd like you to call me. I promise I had you beat.
Put you on about King 6.
Well, you got to call me then.
Fischman was half wrong that time, but he's usually 100% right. He's been one of the hottest players because for him, poker is not just about fun and games.
It's a freedom to be a poker player, but you can't be too free. You do have to work hard.
I've never had this many chips in my life.
I enjoy my work, but it is a job. Why do I keep getting these decisions? There's a lot of highs and lows.
Goodbye.
When you're a tournament player, there's a lot of hours put in when you don't make any money.
Take my money, kid. Take it.
If I win a tournament, I'm paying myself for all those hours that I spent. Just can't go blow it just because you just won it. You have to have good money management. I have contracts and I pay taxes and everything's pretty businesslike, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not broke. I definitely am a workaholic. I'm young and I'll be here for a long time.
I used to have a beard like that, Lon, but things didn't work out all that well for me. Scott makes it work for him.
Over to Lieu, her first World Series of Poker final table. Still waiting to get active. She folds. Now An Tran. Ace King offsuit. He is 52 years old, lives here in Las Vegas.
His nickname is The Boss because he calls everybody else boss.
He does indeed. And he will come out with 70,000 chips. Fischman and Devil Fish fold it. over to Alan Cunningham. Ace-king also offsuit.
Identical hands. He's in a later position. Let's see how he plays it.
I raise it.
Cunningham is going to push harder. An Tran looking very worried.
140 more.
Cunningham says 140,000 more. Action on Charlie Huff now.
Charlie works on Boilermakers and power plants in Ohio.
He's got a king. He's got ace-king also.
And Charlie hasn't been around a long time. As an amateur often does, he peeks at his cards one at a time.
So Cunningham and Tran have ace-king. They're in the pot. Huff with ace-king is all in.
It's a statistical improbability.
But odds are we're going to have a split pot. The hand can only be won with a flush. Tran's got a slight advantage because he can have a winning flush in two different suits.
Money.
And Tran's going to follow the train and go all in.
Which actually gives Alan Cunningham an interesting decision to make. Two people have gone all in before him.
I call it.
Wait until they see this.
Two players with their cards up.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. No, I'm not.
I like Charlie Huff's hand best, Lon. You know why?
Why?
He's got the ace of spades. Prettiest card in the deck.
I'm going to hit some spades. No chop.
All players looking to make their flush.
If Cunningham hits his club flush, he'll knock out two players at once.
And now the flop. It's a heart, club, diamond. There will be no flush. We have a three-way split.
Yeah, everyone gets the check mark. Somebody, though, Lon, was looking for the check plus mark.
A meaningless turn and river. An Tran cannot believe it. Alan Cunningham maybe has seen that in his poker experiences, but Charlie Huff bemoans his missed opportunity.
Everybody else had the same one. That's unbelievable.
Lon, if I had $1 every time I heard someone in a poker room say, "That's unbelievable," I'd have enough money to date Paris Hilton.
Alan Cunningham, 28 years old, won his first bracelet when he was 24. Ace-10 offsuit. Very measured, calculating player. And he drops off 11 blue chips worth 5,000 each. That's 55,000 chips. The yellows are 1,000 each. Over to Randy Edmondson with a couple of nines.
Short stacked.
I'm all in.
And all in with those pocket nines. Over to Canwa with ace-6 of clubs.
Canhua, one of Men the Master wins many pupils, and there you see Men the Master. Men the Master a lot more talkative at the table, though, than Canhua.
Canwa gives it up. Lieu also folds, and An Tran folds. And action back to Alan Cunningham with the all-in pending from Randy Edmondson.
All right, I call it.
And he will call Randy's all-in.
So Randy Edmondson's tournament life on the line versus one of the greatest poker minds in the world, Alan Cunningham.
Come on, Glenn, call it 9 in there for me. Put up a 9, dealer.
I thought we called security over there.
They're only missing the pom-poms. So Edmondson in the lead right now to the flop. It comes ace, queen, jack. Cunningham pairs his ace.
And that puts Randy Edmondson one step out the door. He's all in and nearly all out. His best shot's to hit a 9.
Turn cards at 10, and Cunningham has aces up.
King.
Well, King would put a straight out on the board for both of them, and they would chop the pot. What Edmondson would really like to see is a 9 or an 8 would make a queen high straight for him.
There's the cheering section. Rah, rah.
I knew they'd get rowdy.
River card coming, 8, 9, or king keeps that man Randy Edmondson alive. It's a 2 of hearts. Cunningham earns the check mark, wins the hand, and Randy Edmondson and his entourage have been eliminated in 8th place. He'll take home over $73,000. Alan Cunningham extends his chip lead, and Randy Edmondson makes a triumphant exit from the Rio. Welcome back to the first event of the 2005 World Series. Alan Cunningham, far and away our chip leader. Tight race for number 2. Charlie Huff, the only one without a poker resume, is the short stack.
One amateur left at the table.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
When he made it into the money, he only had 2,200 left in chips. He's played pretty well.
You're not playing like an amateur, sir.
Fischman's very gracious, but at this table, Charlie's Bambi, and he's surrounded by 6 Godzillas.
Scott Fischman will fold. as does Alan Cunningham. Over to Charlie Huff.
And once again, the last amateur standing, looking at his hole cards one at a time.
Jack sinks in. Now he's got King Jack offsuit.
Here we go. All in.
Once again, with his 110,000 remaining chips, Charlie Huff all in. Canois, Lieu, and Tran, the three Vietnamese players at our final table.
Oh.
Two of them fold. Tran says, I'll call you.
Let's go, dealer.
Charlie almost welcoming the call.
King Jack.
Well, he's in a dominant position.
Where's my rooting section?
Looks like he's co-opting Randy Edmondson's fans.
I need a jack.
Actually, he doesn't need a jack.
I need a jack real bad. It's my turn.
With the jack Charlie already has, he's way ahead.
All right, here comes our flop. It's 7, 8, Jack!
Yes!
Well, the problem with getting that jack, though, is it does give An Tran an inside straight draw. So he wants to avoid a 10.
Any king or any jack.
And the turn card. Ace of hearts. Tran adds a heart draw to his chances now.
That'll squeeze the blood out of Charlie a little bit more. So now Tran can knock out Charlie with either a heart on the river or a 10 for a straight.
Huff in the lead. And the river card, 6 of spades. Huff doubles up. Huff survives his all-in.
If I were Tran, I'd go buy his bracelet back. Maybe that'll change everything.
I'll take it.
He will indeed. You know, Charlie started playing poker about 2 years ago, and his friends and family thought he was dead money coming into this tournament, but he's proved them all wrong.
I'm a field construction boiler maker out of Cleveland, local 744. We work in power plants, fossil fuel generation, nuclear plants, chemical plants. It's tough work. I'm turning 50 in July, so I gave myself a 50th birthday present, and I bought into this. My wife was a little mad at me when I told her I was coming. She thinks I'm gonna come here and lose the house.
Yes!
It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of pressure. I haven't slept in 2 days. I'm playing for the money. Every bit of it. That could change my life. I wouldn't have to do the construction anymore. It'd change everything. For the better. Living a dream. I'm living it.
Charlie says if he wins, he'd quit his job and start building homes for a living, but first he'd take a vacation to Australia or Hawaii.
Not bad choices.
Oh, there's Canois. He's thinking of saying something soon.
And Tran said that everybody who made the final table survived a marathon. It's the sprinters who are going to win this tournament. And it looks like he's trying to sprint right now with a pocket 8s. He comes out with 100,000. Action on Scott Fischman with pocket 6s.
Fischman, like An Tran, a former poker dealer.
And An Tran, surprisingly to some, maybe he's in the top 10 all-time cashes in World Series history.
Fischman checks his pair again, and like earlier, showing good discipline in getting rid of a pocket pair that's beat.
Alan Cunningham looks at 2 jacks in the hole.
I'll go all in.
And that would force An Tran all in if Tran calls.
Oh.
And he does indeed, and this is our degree all-in moment. An Tran trailing Alan Cunningham. Tran's tournament life at stake.
Tran might be thinking about that curse. He says if he ever wins another bracelet, it's not for sale.
And Tran with the 2 8s trailing the 2 jacks, and now our flop is King, Deuce, Ace. No help to Tran.
Absolutely nothing there for An Tran to want to look at. He's still looking to get an 8.
And it's a deuce on the turn.
And it leaves An Tran with just 2 cards in the deck to stay alive here at this event. He needs an 8 and an 8 only.
And now the river card, close but not enough. Cunningham earns the degree check mark and wins the hand. The curse lives on for An Tran, perhaps no bracelet, but he goes away with $105,000. So one bracelet winner is gone from this final table. Another is one step closer to winning number 3.
The all-in moment is brought to you by New Degree for Men. For men who take risks, it won't let you down. The World Series of Poker presented by Milwaukee's Best Light.
This was the scene last year when Scott Fischman and his friends, known as the Crew, were dominating the World Series.
The World Series of poker. We own it. We're all under 24. Forget it.
I'm 25.
You are?
What a difference a year makes. It's been tough going for the crew. On the outer tables, Brett Youngblood, playing Limit Hold'em, is no longer a member. He left the group last year. Dutch Boyd, the founder of the crew, has been battling personal problems as he struggles with bipolar disorder. Dutch and Fischman are still good friends, but clearly the group is not the same as the last time we saw them.
Other than Scott, the rest of them just look weathered to me.
Well, Scott having a great start to 2005, defending his bracelet here at this 1,500 no-limit event. Fischman with 9-5 of spades.
He's in the small blind.
And Scott matches the big blind over to Devil Fish. He too has 9-5, a little weaker hand than Fischman's because it's offsuit. Devil Fish has been at 7 previous World Series final tables. He's finished first or second 5 times. And he bets here. He raises 60,000 more.
Well, Scott limped in from the small blind, and Devilfish said, "Not on my watch, sir." He sensed weakness and just take down the pot right here.
Scott Fischman, well, he's not throwing him in right away, is he?
No, he's not.
Raise.
Two-fisted raise.
Jeez. Scott decides Devilfish has nothing. Very nice.
200,000 more from Fischman.
Scott risking more than half his stack on a stone-cold bluff.
I can't win with it, baby. You can.
Devilfish shows his 9-5. Fischman shows his 9-5. So Scott Fischman out-bluffs Devilfish and wins the pot.
Devilfish put out a small bluff, and it was trumped by Scott's big bluff.
Yeah, I thought you were going to try and do some move on the fish, you know?
No, I mean, it's nothing personal, you know that.
No, I understand. I'm just saying. I just had a feeling he was going to do it.
Nothing personal at all. It is just business here at this final table. The art of the bluff in this edition of The Nuts.
I have to show you a big bluff today. Very big.
I'm all in. One thing you need before you're going to pull off a bluff is actually a horrible hand.
I'm all in, that's all I'm telling you.
The bluff and poker in general is 1 part science and 2 parts art.
What, do you want to know what my hand is now?
It's a hard thing to do, to sit there with absolutely nothing in your hand and put literally every single chip that you have to the test.
You really need to just convince yourself that you have it. Because if you believe you have it, hopefully your opponent will believe it too.
I can't call it. Nice hand.
I was on the draw.
Okay, so tips that someone might be bluffing.
You say something funny and the guy kind of goes,
When they put the chips in and then afraid to look at you and look some other way.
They tend to put their chips in really forcefully. I would very often think that that was a bluff.
The other one is their neck. You can sort of, sense breathing patterns and, based on somebody's breathing.
Clock is 8.
Chances are he's bluffing.
Good bluff.
In his book of tells, Mike Caro says a genuine smile means a genuine hand. A forced smile is a bluff. Since I never smile on, they can't tell what I have.
You and Scott Fischman together. Devilfish folds. Rest of the table folds. Canois gets out of it. There is Lieu looking at King 7 offsuit.
Her best friend is John Fan, one of the hottest tournament players around, and he talked her into playing in this tournament.
She calls the big blind, which is 24,000. Fischman with 8-deuce offsuit, coming off a big bluff. His bluff ratio is getting a little high, maybe.
Well, he's getting a little feisty here. He's raised 30,000 with one of the worst hands in poker.
And Lieu will make the call with their King 7 offsuit and about a 2-to-1 advantage going to the flop. And now the flop is Ace, King, Queen. Lieu pairs her kings and a commanding lead.
Yeah, she's got a hammer lock on this hand. She has checked, though.
Scott Fischman coming back with 45,000 chips.
Fischman immediately takes advantage of her weakness. He's bluffing at this again. He's just got 8-2. He bluffed before the flop. Now after the flop, she might fear he has an ace or a king with a better kicker, and she just calls.
So now the turn card, a 4 of spades, and you see the check mark for Lieu. She's got the hand 1 if she doesn't fold.
She has checked yet again.
Fischman has forgotten the meaning of the word check. and he comes out with 120,000. Wow.
This is his third big bluff at this pot. He's got 8 high. In this case, it doesn't matter what his cards are. It matters what he thinks his opponent's cards are, and he puts her on a marginal hand.
Well, Lieu probably worried about that ace on the board right now.
Well, indeed, she has badly misread his hand, and he's a bluffing Bama.
It worked once, and it works again. Lieu kicks in the better cards. Scott Fischman once again bluffs his way to a pot.
Liz, a great cash game player. She's very aggressive herself, and she got beaten by the more aggressive player in that hand.
So Fischman takes down 2 pots being aggressive against aggressive players. We'll see if he wears that out or if he can keep using that tactic. This is just the first event in a long series of poker tournaments at the World Series here in Las Vegas, of course culminating in the main event. There's Charlie Huff looking at ace-5 of spades. He gave himself an early birthday present with the buy-in to this $1,500 no-limit event, and he's going all in with that ace-5.
Well, he actually made a mistake there. He's trying to go all in, but he made a string bet. If he declared verbally all in, he could take as many motions as you want to come out front, but you only allowed 1 motion with your chips if you don't say it. You can't go back for more chips. Can Hua knows that. He's not saying it.
First motion was for 84,000, so that's officially what's in the pot.
I'm all in.
Scott Fischman all in for his last 550,000. Now Cunningham folds, so Fischman's no longer all in. And now it is Charlie Huff who is all in. 100,000 more, all those chips he wanted to push in earlier.
It works out the same way, because if he'd gone all in, Scott Fischman would have called him with the ace-king.
And with that ace-king, Fischman's got about a 2-to-1 advantage right now on Huff. And the flop is queen, 7, deuce, no 5, and only 1 spade.
Well, Charlie said his career highlight in poker up to now was when he got lucky and knocked out pro Dewey Tomko earlier in this tournament. He's going to have to get lucky to stay alive in this tournament right now.
Turn card comes now. It's a 4 of hearts. Well, Huff's got a straight draw.
It gives Charlie a couple more outs there. He needs to pair his 5, or if he can make a 3 to get a straight on the river, he'll still be alive.
Perhaps only 1 card left in Charlie Huff's remarkable World Series run in this no-limit event. The river card's a 10 of clubs, not good enough. Scott Fischman wins the hand. And Charlie Huff will take home almost $137,000 for his 6th place finish. What a run he had here at the World Series, outlasting some of the world's best players in Las Vegas.
It's surreal. I gave it my best. It was a great birthday present.
This is all in. Liz is going to need one of 3 nines left in the deck, or she'll be eliminated in 5th place. Here's the river card. It's a 7. It's a 7 on the river.
That is tournament director Johnny Grooms announcing Lieu's exit from this tournament in 5th place. She wins $177,000 for her efforts here today. A very nice showing at her first World Series of Poker final table. And it was Scott Fischman doing the deed. He collected the rest of Lieu's chips. Now the blinds at 15 and 30,000.
You know I'm defending this with 5-6 or anything better.
Devil Fish in the big blind, trying to scare off people who are thinking of taking it away from him.
Alan Cunningham will act with pocket 6s. It's a pretty good pair, shorthanded. Alan was majoring in engineering at UCLA when he dropped out to become a full-time poker player. Bets 75,000 here.
Can Hua not saying much.
Fischman folds to Devil Fish with pocket 8s. They're going around the table today.
I'm all in.
And Devil Fish says all in.
And by the way, this is not a string bet. Once you say you're all in, you could put your chips in one at a time for the next year if you wanted.
I call it.
Alan Cunningham calls. It's a small price to pay for Cunningham with possibly big rewards if he can knock off Devil Fish.
Devil Fish, though, has the better hand, and he could get very healthy here if he can win this. I got to tell you, I like a man who goes all in and sips a glass of wine.
So Alan Cunningham with just the pocket 6s. The flop is Jack, Jack 7, couple of clubs.
Devil Fish in for his tournament life, still ahead, trying to avoid a 6 from Alan Cunningham.
And now the turn card. It's a 9 of clubs. Devil Fish's 8s are still good.
All right. There's no 6 cones. Put the 10 of clubs out there.
Alan telling him, if I don't hit the 6 on the river to knock you out, you might as well get a straight flush.
And now the river card, 2 of clubs. Devil Fish's eights hold up. He got the club flush to boot, and he doubles up through Alan Cunningham. Devil Fish now with over 800,000 chips. And though Cunningham took a hit there, it has not hurt his domination at this table. He still has over 1.4 million chips. Scott Fischman approaching 700,000. You know, Scott was not the first player to be part of a crew. Alan Cunningham was part of his own crew back when he first joined the poker scene, and now they are some of the biggest names in the game.
Back before the big poker boom, we had our own little crew, if you will. Phil Ivey, John Juanda, Alan Cunningham, and myself.
We sort of all got along and got to like each other before we even knew we were going to be really successful players. John always tried to offer advice.
Phil's a hustler.
I want to gamble with you.
Daniel was the one to take control of the conversation.
I ain't scared. I don't even care.
He's just yakking.
Alan is the quiet, very rational type.
If you ask John Juan and Phil Ivey who was the best player of the four, we always said Alan, no question.
Of course, now they're all big stars and I'm just whatever.
We were like brothers. Despite all the success that we have had, we're still good friends.
The four of us will always have a bond. It's unique in that, it'll never break.
Alan may not have the notoriety of the others, but he can hold his own against his more famous friends. Action on Canois.
If Penn and Teller ever break up, Lon, I think Penn has found a new partner right here.
On the Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam, Canois is holding King Jack of Diamonds.
Wait.
He speaks! Stop the presses!
And he bets, too. 105,000.
Actually, Canois is an accomplished pro. I've played with him many times in L.A., Lon, but he doesn't remember me. You'd think he'd remember the sucker.
As long as you're there. They don't need to know your name. Action on Cunningham. Queen 10 of clubs. Cunningham watches everyone on the table like a hawk. Picks up their tendencies. Maybe he's seen something in Canois. He makes the call. And to the flop. Queen, Jack, 9. Cunningham pairs his queen.
They both got a piece of it. Cunningham with top pair in a straight draw. Hua got middle pair in a straight draw.
Cunningham checks. Canois moves all in. 400,000 more chips.
Alan just took a big hit from Devil Fish. He's a 4-1 favorite here, but I can't tell him.
I call.
And Alan will call and put Canois to the ultimate test. And now they both see that Cunningham has the big advantage, and Menwen's not happy about it. Canois maybe looking at his final two cards. The turn card is a 2 of diamonds. Finally a diamond for Hua, but too little too late.
But Canois still can stay alive if he can pair his jack, or a 10 would give him a straight. Otherwise, he's going home.
And now the river card. It's a 9 of diamonds. Cunningham's hand holds up, and he immediately replenishes the chips lost to Devil Fish. Canois, eliminated in 4th place, wins over $200,000.
Man, the master glares at the big screen, doesn't like what he sees.
With so many amateurs entered in this first event, it's amazing that we are left with 3 of poker's heavyweights vying for this first World Series of Poker bracelet of 2005.
The Toyota Points Leader is brought to you by Toyota. Choose any direction, as long as it's forward. Toyota, moving forward.
Of the over 2,300 players in this record-setting field, 3 were looking to make some special history. Doyle Brunson, Johnny Chan, and Phil Hellmuth were attempting to win their record 10th bracelet.
There's only 3,000 players. How am I going to win bracelet number 10?
While Hellmuth outlasted Brunson and Chan, it wasn't always pretty for him.
There goes 40,000 in yellows, too. Hey, it's much better to have him fall on the floor than in somebody else's stack.
The chips that Phil picked up helped him finish in the money. He was eliminated in 24th place, earning points for the Toyota Player of the Year award.
Wanted to show the world that even though there's 2,300 players, there's going to be some great players down there at the end.
So here's our Toyota Player of the Year leaderboard after the 5 World Series of Poker circuit events. Chris Ferguson, Chad Brown, and Phil Ivey all at the top after making multiple final tables. With the size of this field, Devilfish told me this was more like a lottery than a poker tournament, but he's still holding a ticket.
How about Scott Fischman? He wins this thing last year, and this year against a huge field, he's in the final 3. That's on the short list of World Series wows.
Cunningham still the dominant chip leader.
Okay, boys, I'm ready to go to war, thank you. Well, this I'm not. Oops, sorry. Accident.
What was it?
Jack deuce.
They exposed his cards accidentally, and everybody at the table gets to see them.
Alan Cunningham next to act. He's got ace 5.
That was the drink, buddy.
Well, Devilfish now officially cut off.
Cunningham is going to raise it up. And he counts out 90,000 chips to Scott Fischman. Fischman looks again at pocket 6s.
Any pocket pair, pretty solid and 3-handed.
And he just calls with that. So Fischman and Cunningham
Go, Scotty.
to the flop. Scott's dad, Joel. Very interested observer. Scott Fischman trying to defend his title in this event, and it comes out queen, queen, 6. Fischman flops a full house.
That's bingo for Scott Fischman. But Alan Cunningham's going to act.
And Cunningham acts with 100,000 chips with ace high.
And you see the percentages up there. Fischman can't lose his hand unless there's running queens or running aces.
And Scott Fischman pushes in 150,000 more chips to Alan Cunningham, our chip leader.
I don't know if when Alan bet he thought he had the best hand or he was taking a stab at the pot, but this is a tough spot for him now.
And Alan Cunningham will call.
This is why I'm always wrong, Lon. I thought Scott might have smooth called right there, and I thought Alan might have folded after Scott raised.
Cunningham needs 2 aces. It's a 5 of clubs, and you see the check mark. Fischman can only lose if he folds.
Action to Alan Cunningham first.
Will he commit more chips?
Now he slows down, decides to check. And Scott's going to check and hope that Alan Cunningham makes something on the river he wants to play.
Very interesting going to the river. 10 of clubs. Nothing really that would entice Cunningham to bet more, I'd imagine. He checks.
Well, it's time for Scott Fischman to put in how many chips he thinks he can get a call out of.
He pushes in 3 stacks of 100,000 each.
And notice with Scott, whether he's betting on a bluff or he's betting with the best hand, the same motion out when he puts the chips out there with 2 hands and then runs his fingers up the sides of the chips. Meanwhile, Alan now will reconstruct the hand or deconstruct the hand or do whatever geniuses do in their little genius heads.
And he is a poker genius indeed. Cunningham decides to fold to Scott Fischman. And Joel and Ellen Fischman love what they just saw. Their son just took almost 350,000 chips from the chip leader.
And some people might get flustered in this spot, but Alan's not one of them. He prides himself on making the correct poker decision on each and every hand.
And things have tightened up considerably here at this final table. Scott Fischman is just one big bet away from taking the chip lead from this man, Alan Cunningham.
Alan just happy to be here in last year's World Series. He could not cash. He was 0 for 2004.
Right now, pocket 8s. He's upgrading. Last time he had a pocket pair, they were 6s. He comes out with 75,000 chips. To Scott Fischman. 8-3 offsuit.
Scott not in the mood to dance right now.
Over to Devilfish. Jack 10 suited in hearts. And Devilfish will make the call. Alan has the lead with his pair, but Devilfish has the higher percentage, holding the suited connecting overcards. Cunningham and Ulliot to the flop. It comes out 6-3-4, a couple of hearts.
You know, Lon, Alan looks like a research librarian at MIT who can't possibly hurt you. Oh, but he can at the no-limit table.
I'm all in.
I call it.
Oh, a big moment for Devilfish Ulliot. He is all in on a heart draw.
And the good news for him is that he's also got 2 overcards against Alan's pocket 8s.
Good luck to me.
I like my hand at the moment. If I won against you.
You got me worried.
The Devilfish should like his hand at the moment. He's got the better drawing hand.
Turn card, ace of diamonds.
Oh, well, Devil Fish doesn't like his hand nearly as much right now. Oh, and he takes off his glasses like a football player taking his helmet off when he goes to the sideline.
Cunningham almost a 2-1 favorite.
Devil Fish needs a jack, a 10, or a heart on the river, or he's out of here.
And now the river card, king of clubs. Alan Cunningham knocks out his 4th player of the night. Devil Fish Ulliot gone in 3rd place to never mount a lasting charge. He'll take home $232,000. And for Alan Cunningham, every time he took a hit on his chip stack, he seems to get them back right away. So we are down to our final 2 at this $1,500 no-limit Hold'em tournament. Scott Fischman and Alan Cunningham, heads up for the bracelet.
Good luck, Alan.
You too. I mean, good luck in the next one.
The 2005 World Series of Poker is presented by Milwaukee's Best Light, brewed for a man's taste. Miller Brewing Company, and in part by New Degree for Men, for men who take risks. It won't let you down. And Harris Entertainment, home of the world's richest poker tournament.
Heads-up action about to begin. Each player looking for their 3rd World Series bracelet. Scott Fischman defending his no-limit Hold'em title, and Alan Cunningham trying to exorcise the demons of 2004.
I'm excited.
I'm the chip leader, so I certainly like my chances.
I'm not a math guy. I'm more of a feel, instinct type player.
Poker is 100% luck and it's 100% skill.
My game plan is to have no game plan.
I'm completely at ease, play my own strategy.
I'm gonna try and win it.
I hope to get lucky.
So here we go. Scott Fischman, 1.2 million chips. Alan Cunningham, 2.2 million chips. And the prize money and the bracelet have been brought out to the final table. Over $725,000 to the winner. That's got to be unnerving.
This is the new crew versus the old crew. Of course, the old crew rep is all of 28 years old.
Cunningham with 6-3 of hearts calls the big blind. Fischman with 5-4 offsuit. Check his option. Cunningham with the slight advantage going to the flop. It comes out 10-6-3. Cunningham pairs both of his hole cards.
Yeah, 2 pair on the flop for Alan Cunningham. A big hand for him.
Scott Fischman leads out 30,000 chips with a straight draw.
Up and down straight draw.
I raise.
Cunningham announces a raise. The chips he put in there just matched the bet.
In heads up, unless Fischman flopped 3 10s, Alan knows his 2 pair is good enough.
80,000 more chips. Back to Fischman now. And Scott Fischman will match the raise. But he looks suspiciously at Alan Cunningham in the process. Turn card. 4 of diamonds. That pairs one of Fischman's hole cards.
Cunningham still in control of this hand, and Fischman checks.
So Cunningham now in the position to drive this hand. And he is reaching.
He might think of driving out any type of draw Scott Fischman has right now with a big bet.
250.
Cunningham will come in with 250,000 chips.
Scott might put Alan on a big pair right here. Scott just with the little pair.
Nervous times for Scott's parents, Joel and Ellen.
Scott with a pair of 4s and an up and down straight draw.
Come on.
Scott Fischman is going to go all in. All of his chips going into the pot.
Wow, Scott deciding to roll the dice right here, right now for all his chips. He's going to take his chances on a straight draw. Maybe he's put Alan on a high pair, trying to push him out. Alan, meanwhile, is in a quandary. He's got a 2-1 chip lead right now, and if he were to call and lose his hand, he would be behind 2-1 in chips.
So the whole tournament may hinge on this next decision by Alan Cunningham. Scott Fischman's defense of this no-limit tournament title could come to an end with this hand.
I'll go ahead and call it.
Oh, with a shrug, he calls it.
That's what I was hoping for.
Well, as usual, Alan, about the smartest guy in the room, he pretty much thought that Fischman had a draw there.
Fischman cannot believe that with 6-3 in the hole, Cunningham has 2 pair.
Well, Fischman wants to keep his hopes alive for back-to-back titles. On the river, he'll have to hit a 4 or a 2 or a 7 to make the straight.
And the river card, ace of clubs. No help to Scott Fischman. And Alan Cunningham has won the $1,500 no-limit Texas Hold'em event to open the 2005 World Series of Poker. Fischman earns $352,000. Cunningham wins his 3rd World Series bracelet. But for Scott Fischman, this validates everything he did in 04.
I didn't even expect to even get close to winning a tournament this year. To do this exceeds all my expectations.
After surviving the 2nd largest field ever, Alan Cunningham has begun the World Series with a bang, winning the first bracelet of 2005.
What a difference a year makes for you.
You know, I wish 2004 was just one event longer, then I might have just won the big one, but this is pretty sweet.
Do you have a realistic goal in your mind of what type of year you want to have in 2005?
I want to win as many as I can.
One event down, a whole World Series to go. For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. See you next time from the World Series of Poker.